Thank you so much for staying with us. We're still live on the news. We're talking about the labor laws, and to discuss this, we're joined by a labor law expert, Ireoluwa Oguntuase. Ireoluwa, thank you once again for joining us. How will the implementation of the 70,000 naira minimum wage impact the finances of Nigerian state, especially those with limited revenue streams?
Of course, it's going to impact considerably. Now, we need to understand the fact that this implementation, this increase was agreed on sometimes in July, and prior to this time, 30,000 has been paid. And even the previous amount that has been paid as minimum wage, some states have been complaining that they're even finding it very difficult to pay. Let alone this increase in the new one now being 70,000 naira. So it's going to really impact negatively in no mean measure, especially for the states that they've been earning low as far as the internal generated. Even try to even improve the allocation that is being given to each of the states. So I think the state should also come out clean if they are stating that the amount they are collecting or the amount they are generating, will not be enough for them to service the particular new increase. Now, for some of the states, especially I think KB, Plateau, and one other state like that, the governors have complained bitterly that they are finding it difficult to pay on the smaller that out to pay the amount able to pay above 70,000. So I think it's going to impact in no mean measure on the amount the state will be paying now as the new minimum wage. So for every governor that is finding it difficult to pay, I think they need to liaise peacefully with the Nigerian Labour Congress, the branches in their respective states, so that they will be able to find a solution to this seeming impasse.
All right. Also, given the current economic challenges and economic climate, how will the wage increase contribute to inflationary pressures?
Well, when we talk of inflation, even without the wage increase, there's already inflation. We don't have increase in the minimum wage when prices of food are soared astronomically. There's no increase in the minimum wage when prices of electricity soared astronomically, and also the prices in the basic amenities that every citizen of Nigeria should have. So I don't think the increase in the minimum wage would add more to the inflation, given the current rate of the inflation that we have currently in Nigeria now. Now, what I think is that as far as the citizen is concerned, there should be a means, or there should be a way in which the government will try as much as possible to reduce the impact on the citizen. And one of the ways in which this impact can be reduced, in addition to also trying to reduce what is causing this astronomical increase in the basic amenities, is also to show up this minimum wage increase a little. Now, let's not forget that by the provision of the Minimum Wage Act, the minimum wage should be increased, I think, by the provision of Section 4 every 5 years. And the last time the minimum wage was increased was in 2019, and this is 2024. So I don't think this is going to cause any inflation whatsoever.
Okay, let's talk about the likelihood of a widespread industrial action if the states fail to comply with the NLC's deadline. How would this impact the economic activity and productivity in Nigeria generally?
Of course, we all know the implication of strike. We know that strike can be, by the provision of the Trade Dispute Act, strike can be defined as cessation of work as a result of trade dispute. So I'm referring to Section 48 of the Trade Dispute Act now. So by implication, of course, any country that goes on strike is going to impact, and we're going to lose. But for me personally, and I've said it during one of my interviews on this TV station before, that I've never been an advocate of strike. I've never been an advocate of strike. I would rather prefer that the Nigerian Labour Congress, they may picket, and they should picket peacefully, or they may involve in collective bargaining in order to liaison, or with a view to liaison with the governors or with the federal government. But of course, strike is going to impact negatively. And this is not the right thing for Nigerians to do now, given even the low economic downturn that every citizen and even the government is experiencing now. So I don't think strike is the right way to go. and even for the Nigerian Labour Congress, they should also see this. And most importantly, I think the Nigerian Labour Congress should also be creative in the way they approach any dispute they have with the federal government. Now coming out to say that they are going on strike every now and then, I don't think that's what the citizens want to hear. I think the citizens which they are representing, they want a situation whereby every challenge that they have can be creatively solved. I don't think strike is one of the ways.
Okay, I'm also curious to know, how is the federal government likely to respond to the NLC's demands and the potential for industrial action? Would it intervene to ensure compliance by state governments, or would it offer additional support to states facing financial constraints?
Okay, while I'm not in the cabinet of the federal government, I can only speculate, and my speculation would be that my speculation is going to be that for the federal government, what they usually do is very simple. They will allow NLC to ramble, to shout. They will allow them to go on strike, and still they are going to come back to the table. But my view has always been within this period that NLC will go on strike, whether it's 1 day, whether it's 2 days, irrespective of how many days they're going to go on strike. I imagine how much will be lost. I imagine how much will be the negative impact this is also going to have on the economy and on the citizen of Nigeria that is even struggling to survive. So, so for the federal government, the pathway has always been the same, and the pathway is that most likely they will try and convince NLC not to go on strike. And if they insist on going on strike, they will go on strike, and this thing will still be solved nevertheless. But one thing that we even need to know is the reason the NLC is going on strike. The federal government is not only involved in this. You know, the issue of minimum wage is in the exclusive list. And to that extent, it covers both the federal government and the state government. And the issue that is happening now, most of the state governments are finding it difficult to pay. So why can't the NLC, in lieu of going on strike, instruct their branches in the respective state that are finding it difficult to pay, to liaise with them, to have a meeting with them, you know, a peaceful meeting, so that possibly a solution can be found, you know, on all these issues, instead of them insisting on going on strike because of the non-implementation of the minimum wage.
All right, thank you so much, labor law expert Ireoluwa Oguntuase, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.